Today I'm going to show you a gorgeous way to make faux stained glass pictures using scratch art paper. The results are awesome. So there's two different types of scratch art that I have used with my students for this project. There's a lot of other different kinds too, glittery, regular, but I like this kind. This one is the clear scratch film sheets. And then this one is the scratch light, I guess. Scratch light. So they both use the same principles. It starts with a black sheet of paper, and you use a scratching tool to scratch away your designs. And it scratches off the black coating and leaves a colored design underneath, but it is translucent so you can see through it. And then this is the same concept. It's a clear transparency sheet, and when you scratch away, you get your design. And the cool thing about this is that you can later put something underneath it with whatever color you want. So say I wanted a green, I could put green under it. I could lay down some tissue paper, put some tissue paper under there. I can rub oil pastels underneath and then have the oil pastels showing through. So there's a lot of different options. So the reason I wanted to show you this today was because my students have been learning about the Notre Dame Cathedral and the rose windows, and we learned about the history of it and the purpose of it, and we learned about different artworks that are in there and relics. And so they were very interested in it because of the recent fire. And we decided to make a bulletin board in tribute of the Notre Dame Cathedral. And one of the projects we're doing are these scratch art rose windows. So the way to do this is you start by drawing your design on a piece of paper first. So I recommend having handouts or pictures to look at. I had some things I printed off the internet. I had a lot of pictures that I printed off the internet. And the kids drew their designs, and I did not require them to be, exact copies. I wanted them to use their creative license. So here was my example, how I used just some shapes that might be in some of the windows, and then some of my own designs, and I didn't want to draw all the people and all the little details, but I made my own designs. Okay. So once my design has been drawn on a white piece of paper, I'm going to put the scratch art paper underneath, and I taped it down actually. I taped it together so that way it wouldn't fall apart while I was tracing. You want to have the rough side up, or the matte side up. The shiny side should be facing down. Okay. Then I can draw on top with a pencil or a ballpoint pen to trace my designs. Okay. Now you will notice when I flip it up, a little bit of it has been transferred. And also I could see a slight line. Like if you look really closely, you can see a faint line. If I were doing this whole thing right now, I would trace the entire picture first and then start scratching. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to flip it over. So then I use my scratch art tool, which is just a wooden stylus. And I start scratching away. Now this one has the color underneath. So it's transparent, but it has the color on there. If I did the other kind, it would just be clear. While I am working, I should take another piece of scratch paper and put my hand to rest on it. The reason why is you don't want your fingertips touching it all over, because your finger has oils. Your fingers have oils, and then if you get the oils on the paper, it'll make it harder to scratch away in that area. And sometimes, if the oils are on there, it won't even scratch away at all. So you want to keep it clean. Here's my design coming through. Now the picture will look much more interesting if you color in solid shapes, because you want to have a contrast between thin little lines and then some details that have been colored in more solidly. So you can see that's solid, and then these are thin little designs. And I can improvise as I go. Like I can add more to this as I go. And that'll just make it more interesting. Okay, so that is how you do the scratch art windows. And in the end, you will have a beautiful design that you can tape to your window, like an actual window, or you can put paper underneath it to display it on a bulletin board.